All right. Today's class is the kind of open discussion Q&A class, and we do have quite a large group today, so we will try to make sure everyone's questions get answered. How I'm going to structure this is we'll just kind of go down the list as GoToMeeting has organized it. I think it's done alphabetically or by how you connect, but the Angelas will have the floor first. If you see Angela from Pristine Splash, do you maybe have a question or two I could answer for you or demonstrate anything?
I have like 4 questions actually.
Okay.
Okay. My first question is about doing the routes. I've set up my routes and everything, but we have backwash schedules where like every 3 months for one customer or every 2 months for another customer. My question is, do I put that on the tasks for the customer and then they'll just reappear every 3 months for that customer for a backwash?
Yeah, you could. I would say that would kind of fall along the lines of, also in your industry, people do the filter checks or changes, and I do see a lot of other companies doing that with the tasks in our software using the recurring tasks. That way it's kind of separate from the route schedule.
Okay. Okay, and then my next question is, we charge like a flat rate, but we have extra things like we'll charge like $15 for all chemicals included, or we'll charge or we give them like a $10 discount a month. So where do I put that on there, and how do I get that so that it shows up every month on their invoice?
Now, are you using the memorized transactions in our software for managing the billing?
You just do you set that up right there, or I don't know? I guess I'm still kind of confused about that.
Okay.
So you can add more than one thing on the memorized transactions?
Yes. Anything you need to bill for a customer can be set up on the memorized transaction page to allocate for a monthly billing. So if you need to have a flat monthly rate of $100, we can pick the customer, select our monthly cleaning, for instance, here, set them for $100, and we could have the same customer on the next line, chemicals only, and then have like the description say, monthly chemicals, and then that's $15 for the customer.
Can you tell them that I contacted care members?
And then we could have that monthly discount, and then we would do a negative quantity with a positive dollar amount. So you could have that $10 off coupon with a -1 as the quantity, and then total a negative $10, and that'll all combine onto one invoice when it goes to clearance.
Okay, is that going to show up separately on the invoice though, or are you saying? Is it going to say it will show discount?
Yeah, I'll show you here.
Okay.
We could have monthly cleaning at $150 for the month. We then have the same customer. And then they maybe have, let's see, let's do, so this is how I could set up one customer with those 3 items.
Okay.
So I would need a separate item for chemicals, and then I would have just a generic service item in QuickBooks I could set it up to be like the $10 off monthly service, -1 quantity. And that would then give you that negative dollar amount here. Let's just see. I should be able to post these to QuickBooks.
So when the text and when he's doing his thing on the app on his phone, it's automatically going to upload onto the invoice too, the chemicals and stuff?
Now, if he's marking separate chemicals,
Yeah.
is that what he's doing with the line items, or?
I'm not sure. I haven't even started using the app yet, but I just want to know, like, when he's there and he's putting down how many chemicals he's using for a customer, is it going to go on there, or do I have to still add that in?
Now, there's a couple ways to do it. Just curious, when you say you have only some customers, you maybe charge a flat rate for 15?
Right. Other
Okay.
people are extra, so I'm talking about those people.
Okay, the people that are, the service rate plus chemicals, what he'll do is on the mobile device, he'll add the line items for the chemicals he uses. That then, instead of just posting these straight to QuickBooks, we're going to combine them with the route tickets. And that's why we have that post route tickets button.
Okay.
And it'll take anything extra that the tech has billed on any of the route tickets from the mobile device, anything from any of the services, combine it with any of the memorized transactions and give you that one invoice in QuickBooks.
And then is there like a spot on there when he's on his little app thing? Is there a spot for like chemical levels and all that stuff? Or
Yeah.
is that just a one square with notes? Or is there like separate spots?
On the mobile device in the pool industry, your ticket entry screen looks, it doesn't look like this. It's laid out, obviously, a little easier for the mobile devices, but you do have all these options where he puts in the reading amounts
okay.
he added, checks off what he did.
Okay, I think that is all my questions
Okay.
for now that I can think of.
Hey, Michael.
Yes, sir.
In QuickBooks, we would make an invoice that said, monthly service, and then we would have another line below it that said, minus $10 as a discount. It was all on one invoice. You kind of lost me there when you were entering in memorized transactions. Did you actually enter in two memorized transactions, one for the cost and then one for the discount?
If you wanted it separated like that, I had 3 line items here. And that, just in QuickBooks that I posted over, would come over like that for that one customer.
Okay. So you could change, that looks like that was one of my questions too today, that you could change, if we wanted to change their monthly service, but still give them that discount, so then we could just change the one line and the other would stay the same.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
The trick with discounts, and this is just good information for everyone, our item list, the item list in QuickBooks, when you make a new item, you obviously have the choice to make a discount item or an other charge, and discounts items can be done based on a percentage, or it's always like treated as a credit on that invoice. The service program does not work with discount item types. We can't have a discount item on an invoice in our software that's based on a percentage and it transfer over to QuickBooks. How we handle credits on an invoice, how I got this one to sync over was actually creating a generic service item. So I created a service item and called it discount or coupon, and I leave the pricing at 0. And And that allows me in the service program to say that's supposed to be just a negative $10. As long as the overall invoice total is positive, that will allow our software to send an invoice over with a negative line item on it. If the overall invoice is negative for that customer, it is going to give you an error message. And that is because we cannot issue, a negative invoice has to be issued as a credit memo in QuickBooks. And we don't have the ability to do that. We can't send over a negative invoice just because it needs to be entered as a credit memo in QuickBooks, so it properly issues a credit to that customer's account. Miss Angela Wilson, do you have a couple questions for me today that I could answer, or are you just listening in?
I'm mainly listening in, but I do have one question. Because you know me, I'm always trying to change stuff. On the calendar view, can we make any changes to the view of the calendar of the schedule?
I'm sorry, I had to turn up my volume. I didn't quite. I heard something about making changes to the schedule view.
Yeah, on the calendar part of the schedule view, how it's laid out. Can you make changes in that, or is that a done deal?
No, we can't really control much to this. The only thing we can do is make the spaces or boxes here a little bigger or smaller, depending on your start and stop time of the day. And that's really all we can control. You can see the number of employees on the schedule, but I can't control that it always defaults to the week view or resize anything.
Okay. That's it for now, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Desiree, I see you might have yourself muted. Do you have a question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay. I want to be able to generate a report by equipment or rental items. Is that possible? Instead of generating it by customer,
So
I was able to enter the choice. When you go to reports, I was able to enter the a little tab and put equipment under select, like right there. Yeah, I was able to put equipment or rentals, but then I didn't really know what to do after that.
okay, what are we trying to see? Are we actually looking at rental items
Trying to
or customer?
Three.
Trying to see what? I'm sorry.
Any task that I put in for that specific piece of equipment.
Okay, are you using the rental side of the software, or you have the equipment set up under customer equipment?
Most of it is rentals, but there are some pieces of equipment that are owned by the customer. And I just have them, I have that piece of equipment entered under the customer name.
So you want to see basically everything that's been billed for in the past? Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Well, not necessarily billed for. There is some work that our techs do on the equipment that isn't billed for. We want to be able to have a report of everything that was done on that piece of equipment in the past. Any kind of maintenance, checking, anything.
Now, are you using tasks to control when you need to maintenance a piece of equipment?
Yes.
I don't think we have a report in here that will drill down to a specific piece of equipment because tasks themselves by nature are tied to a customer. I could run a report and tell you all, all the services for one particular customer, but I couldn't narrow it down to just one piece of equipment by serial number. There's not a current report we have in there that would do that. There are a couple ways I could recommend that we could use the software the way it is to get some of that information, but if you're looking for...
Can you show me that?
It would it would require you changing maybe how you're doing it so that you could pull it up. It wouldn't be anything that you could do now when you would have to start doing the new process. Maybe I was getting into a private training the other day with a large equipment rental company, and we created a customer in their QuickBooks called in-house service or service, and we were actually creating tasks for that particular kind of dummy customer anytime we needed to do service on a piece of equipment that was either owned by you, that you're maybe renting out. That way we could run a history report off that dummy customer and get all the tasks for all the pieces of equipment we've serviced.
Right. So maybe if we did a dummy customer for each piece of equipment, I mean, that would get pretty crazy, but...
Yeah, that I think we would need to just maybe develop a custom report for you, which is not a problem. We could have that done in a couple days. If what I will do is I can put in our customer support email address, and if you see the little GoToMeeting chat, I'll put in our customer support email address, and if you maybe want to send over what you need to see on that report, just a couple of the requirements you want to be able to, like for instance, you want to see or be able to drill down per equipment how many times it was serviced, you know, what customers it was serviced on, the dates, the notes, you know, the different fields you need.
Right. Okay. Okay, and then also I had another question about coordinates.
Mm-hmm.
If I put in coordinates for a specific location, I should be able to map it just off of that, right, even if I don't have the address?
Yes.
Okay,
You would.
Can you walk that? Because I've tried it before and it seems like it doesn't want to work.
If I open up any customer on their customer detail, I have a spot for the latitude and longitude. So that's where I'll need to put in those coordinates and this customer doesn't have to have an address. If the latitude and longitude is filled in, MapPoint will use that over the address. Now, are you mapping off the route schedule?
No, we don't really have a route schedule. I just put the coordinates in on the customer, and then what do you do after that?
If you're using tasks, mainly tasks, and you're not using a route, the benefit of our software is we can, let me get rid of some route stuff here. You could dynamically build a route based on the open tasks you have for that day for your techs. And this is actually a pretty cool feature. I just need to create a few more tasks here. Let me just, one sec. So let's say I have these all assigned to Bill. What I can do is I could press my route schedule button, and there's an option in the software that you will be able to get this pop-up window. It says import open tasks. Would you like to put open tasks onto the route schedule? We'll just simply hit yes. It builds a one-time route for you automatically, uses a frequency called task that is automatically set up, that is a non-reoccurring one-time only stop. It puts our tech in, it puts everything else we need, all the other notes from that task. Now this allows me to map it just like a route. So I'm going to map everything assigned to Bill for the 5th, and then hit map. It would allow me to map it just like it was a true route. I could do my optimizations, put them in the right order, And then the nice thing is, when I'm done with the service for that day, so I post my route, all that does is it marks anything you've done in the week as complete. So I would post the route.
I noticed in the customer area there is another spot to click map as well. Can I just map one spot from there?
What the map does on the customer level right here, this map button requires a address, and it uses MapQuest, the website.
Oh, okay. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, this does not use latitude and longitude. This you have to have a service address or an address close to that customer if you can't find one.
I think that's it for me.
Okay. Eileen or Lonnie, you guys have another question or two for me?
Sure. How about you've talked before about contracts. We need to have some type of a contract with our customers, and I thought there was an easy way to do that in here where we could actually make the contract in here and store it in here with each individual customer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That is under the contract list. Is I can set up contracts on this page. I'm not going to go into too much detail just because I know I've got two other people in this class that I think have a lot of questions for me. And I do cover the contract list in our leads. I think it's the class that's called like leads, quotes, contracts, and templates. It's a class I have canceled for the last like 3 weeks straight because no one ever signs up for it. But if you'd like, Lonnie, I could either work on you one-on-one, or if you want to come to one of those classes, I could go into some detail here. But this contract list.
Why don't we just skip it right now, Michael, and I'll sign up for that class.
Okay, great. I greatly appreciate that.
Another question is, we have one of the repair guys comes in every morning, and I was wondering, I have a computer set up for him that he can get on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Can we put another copy of the service program on there so that he can look at his schedule? We can have his schedule in that calendar view up on that computer. We have 3 workstations already, and I don't know how that works with you guys. If I bought 3 workstations, or do I have to buy a 4th one, or if we just want to look at the schedule view, can we do that, or how does that work?
It depends. If you want to put a copy of the service program on there, I'd have to get with Bill or accounting and see if I could get the number of users and how you paid for the software and what you're allowed to have. And simply, I think it would be adding another user onto your current plan. If you may have to pay for it, or it may be a certain dollar amount a month. I'm not too sure on that. The easiest way is maybe we set him up with a Google Calendar, and we could use the GCal just for him. That way he can just hop on that computer, go to his Google Calendar, and see his schedule for the day.
Okay. I'll look at that.
Okay.
Another quick question is, we're making a brochure that we want to hand out when we go to a customer's house for cleaning service, and we're pushing all this technology that we are trying to use, and I wanted to put a picture in this brochure of like the information that we're collecting to kind of show the customer. And an idea that Eileen had is put a picture of like what the screen looks like on the phone of like a route ticket.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you had a picture like that you could email me that I could use for this brochure instead of me trying to figure out how to make something off my phone.
Yeah, of course. I think I have, let's see. Like that?
Sure.
I've got a couple. I'll send you a couple screenshots of the mobile device, just so they can get an idea of what you guys are doing. I like that.
Great, thanks. I have another question. It's about QuickBooks. I don't know if it would be a long one or not. Why don't you come back to me if we have time?
Okay, perfect. Jim, you got anything for me today?
Actually, Jim has to leave, so I'm his office manager, Pat, and we just got the program like a couple of days ago. So, and we haven't taken any. I mean, I've done some of the videos online, but so we need to sign up for a lot more classes. I'd definitely like to sign up for that contracts class also.
Okay.
Let me know when it is.
Yeah. Right within the software, if you hit miscellaneous info, go down to training schedule.
Okay.
That should open up our website here. Let's see. It's not opening up on the right monitor.
What was the class called again?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
What was the class called again for the contract?
I believe it's called like leads, quotes, contracts, and templates.
Okay.
It's that leads and quotes class. That's the one I do have the contracts on my kind of lesson plan as far as what to cover that day. And if you hit that training schedule link, you should see our full schedule of the 2 classes a day, the morning and the afternoon, and it rotates through the week. So
Perfect.
I believe it's Monday, Tuesday, and then it flip-flops Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday we have the Q&A class.
Okay. In the meanwhile, email set up for customers so we can email straight through the service program, correct?
Yeah, you can right from the software. If we're on the customer, we could hit email. It brings up a little message. You can type it in and hit email, and what it's going to do is if you do have a client like Outlook or Mozilla, Thunderbird, or whatever you use to do your mail, it will pop up in Outlook and allow you to send it.
Okay. What about if it's like a customer wants their invoices emailed? Do I do that through QuickBooks, or can I do it through the service program?
You would actually do that through QuickBooks. Just because QuickBooks has a great way of batch or emailing in bulk. If I go to email an invoice, I could do it just a one-off invoice when it's in QuickBooks. Or I could hit send batch, and it allows me to select multiple open invoices and send out those emails all at once. You can customize the email that is sent to the customer, as well as that then it gets attached to that PDF invoice.
Okay. That brings up another. We do batching at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure how to do that, like batching invoices, because we're a pool company, so we do weekly services.
Yep. Do you charge per service or flat?
Per service, and then chemicals are not included, so there might be some chemicals for some people and some not for others.
That was where we were beginning of this class. This is also how I'd have you set it up, is the memorized transaction list. We would have a customer that, I'll just pick one here, and you have maybe a weekly you would set it up like weekly pool service, and then let's say they get charged $40 a visit. Now what our software will do is your guys will be using route tickets or creating route tickets in the field. Those route tickets, which just to show you the desktop version, would be what they're filling out. Any chemicals they need to bill out, they would do on the route tickets. They would select the chlorine or whatever chemicals they need to charge for that visit. At the end of the month, we just click a couple buttons. We put in the dates we're billing for. I then, excuse me, I then press based on route tickets and calculate number of route stops. And it will go through every customer on this list and put in the number of stops based on how many tickets are in that date range you selected. So if it's a typical month, you'll have maybe, if they're weekly customers, you'll have maybe a 4 or 5 or 3. It'll then calculate the total for you, and you get something like this after hitting calculate number of route stops. We hit post to route tickets, and that'll combine any chemicals or extra charges from the route tickets for that customer that month you're billing for with your kind of base charge and create one invoice in QuickBooks.
Okay.
And that's a rough run-through of kind of how our software generates the batched billing. I do have a class I did not too long ago, and this would be one I would recommend. Let's see if I can find it for you here. Is if you were to watch any video and you need help on billing, if you go to our serviceprogram.net/OLH for online help, or in the program, miscellaneous info, view online help. If you go to the video section, the routing and mapping class from Wednesday the 20th of February. This video is, I think I describe it here, we're able to set up the route schedule to generate service billing. We walk through route tickets, memorize transactions, and demonstrate how to get that generated invoice for the monthly billing into QuickBooks.
Okay. Okay, I'll do that when I hang up. Thank you very much.
Oh, not a problem. And I heard about you, Keith, a few minutes ago.
Okay. So, to start with, okay, so the other day, yesterday I was out, I had the iPad, and I'm doing from the road, and a couple of things with it. He said that there was glitches with the eye. You know, I have, let's start here. In my item list in QuickBooks, okay, you know, I've been using this for years, and now it's time to let other people look at it, so I have to make it easier for everybody. So I labeled a certain parent, I changed the name on it so it would make it user-friendly for my guys. Okay, now in QuickBooks, it has that new label, the parent label. On the PC, it didn't change over. It's still the old one.
Now, when you said it's displayed correctly in QuickBooks, but in the service program, did you update only inventory?
I've hit the update all quick. You know, that whole you know, the big one at the top. When you update, I've done that plenty of times since, and it never up. Okay, there's a couple of other things that it hasn't updated.
What I would recommend is on your item list, if you go in the service program to item info, item list, hit Control-A to select all your items, and then press delete on the keyboard. It is going to wipe out the item list in our program, and then right away, as soon as you're done with that, hit Update QuickBooks, and then select.
Okay, do it from scratch.
Yeah, select items in the lower half and hit Reload, and that's basically going to rebuild the item list and make it match in QuickBooks, and that's a way to force those changes to come over. And a lot of times what happens is our software is only looking at QuickBooks for what QuickBooks has flagged as something being changed, and I have seen it occasionally that changing a spelling of an item, maybe in the description, or adding a parent, or changing a parent may not be a big enough change to actually flag it in QuickBooks, so our software doesn't pick it up.
Great. Okay. You know, so I was using the iPad yesterday, and I had a couple of jobs that I completed, and I hit the complete button and saved, did the save, and synced it. And then I had a couple of jobs where I added a bunch of line items in, and I hit save. I didn't hit complete because we still got to go back there, and so I didn't want to complete it. Okay, when I go to my task list, everything looks the same. There's one of them that's not there, and the others, one of them that I did not complete is going off the task list, and the two that I did complete, they're still on the task list.
Correct.
So Joe was saying, well, how can I, when the guys do something or we do something, what is it, when you do it on the iPad, what does it look like in QuickBooks so that I know, because everything that they do on the road, I'm going to double check in the office.
Yep.
And so how do I know what they've done so that I know what to go in and look at without having to look at every single thing, hit or miss, seeing what is and what isn't done?
Now, I know I heard you working with Joe a moment ago, and that Process PDA Completed Task button, what that
if you hit that, does that automatically complete everything, or does it bring me to another screen where then I look at the individual tasks?
What it does is it takes everything that's been marked as field completed, and it'll tell you you have X amount of tickets that have been completed. Would you like to process them now? When you hit yes, it marks them as complete, takes them off your task list, and puts them in open invoices pending review, and then you can then invoice them to QuickBooks.
Okay, good. So it does bring you to another thing, and I can double check everything the guys do.
Yep, it'll say, I think when you hit that button, it'll say finished or okay, and then you just go to your open invoice list, and everything should now be here that was just taken off your task list. And this will be your chance to then open it up, and you'd be able to see the line items that they did, and their notes would be in that first line, and you can make any changes or adjustments to billing and then send it off to QuickBooks.
And then if I hit, like, if I don't like what I see and they got to do something else, is that where, and I want to leave it, I want to send it back, that's reopen task, and this will get back on the task list?
Correct. Now, what may be, and this is just with working with, again, I think I say this almost every week now, Lonnie has been bouncing some good stuff off me, and him and I have kind of, I think, gotten a process that you could use the sub-assign to create a username called complete. So when you're doing this on the iPad and going in and completing a task, change the sub-assign to complete, put in your resolution, and then check off completed, save, and sync. Now your tasks are going to come back in the office, you know, when you sync mobile devices just like this. You can go, okay, now I want to see everything that's complete. And that'll be everything that was completed in the field. Before you hit that Process PDA, you can make your changes and then hit that button.
I like that. Okay.
And what Lonnie did, I think, is he was maybe, or I guess maybe starting to implement was statuses using that sub-assign to. So if you're waiting on parts, you could have a parts on order. Or if it's unassigned, you could have an unassigned. Or if it needs to be rescheduled, you could use that sub-assign to and just create some usernames for those different kind of categories. And it's flexible enough that I believe it's going to work very well.
Okay, so now, here it is a week later. Let's say I like the parts on order. Here it is a week later. The part came in. I'm giving it to, sending it back out. I just changed the assign to whoever I want it to be, right?
Yep. Or what you do at that point is you take it off parts on order, and then, you know, maybe, yeah, maybe Bill was the original tech, but now it's going to Doug to go back out there and do the install now. This way we could track the first tech that was there, who then actually did go back and complete the work. And
then I would also change the date so that it gets back in, so that it goes out with today's stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, great.
Hey, Michael.
Yes, sir.
He sounds a lot like me, where I want to double check stuff, and that's, once we talked about that and we discovered that, that's been working incredibly well for us. It's been
what
perfect.
Using? The way
Using
with the,
that sub-assigned, we have reschedule, we have parts on order. We went through and figured out, those different type of categories, and we just use that sub-assigned to do everything. We never hit that button that says process completed task. We just do everything off of that sub-assigned in the task list.
Okay, great. Yeah, that sounds like it just makes it, boom, you can see it right there without having to go around and look for it.
Great. All right. Do you have a couple more for you, Keith, or a couple more for me, or are we? I know you're having some issues with the.
Some of these that I had. Okay, here's one. So one of these things that I left open. Okay, we did it yesterday. We put a bunch of line items in. I didn't complete it. Sorry about that. I didn't complete it because we went back today. So when I went and looked in the PC, okay, the line items that I put in there yesterday are all there, okay? When I opened it up again in my iPad today, there's no line items there. Now, is that one of the glitches that Joe was talking about that should work out, or is that just the way it looks?
No, the task when you, and this is how it's always operated to the best of my knowledge, is if you do have a task that you leave open and you've added line items to it and saved and synced, those items fall off the task and appear on the task on the desktop, and that is where you want them. That's the master. That's really controlling everything. So as long as they've made it there, when you complete that task, you're not going to have any other issue. If you need to add more line items, you can add it, and it would just add to that task on the desktop.
Okay, so it's normal. Okay.
The way it is a little backwards, but right now we are in the process for the Droid side. The iPhone and iPad are always going to be a step behind. The Droid side, the next thing we're finishing is the route ticket history to allow you to see your past stops and chemical readings and data from your route schedule. And then we're going to be addressing how we use the line items and readdress some of the different views inside the app. And we're also going to then add a way to email right from the app. And then there are going to be no further changes to the Service Program app, period. We're going to be letting it sit, and we're going to a web-based solution that's cross-platform: Android, iOS, Symbian, BlackBerry, Windows Mobile, Windows 8. It'll be customizable.
I entered 2 tasks from the road on the iPad, and one of them showed up briefly on the task list, and it had some gobbledygook in the description that I wrote, and then it was gone and I can't find it. Now he said, I guess that you have to have, I thought I put like an 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 to 9 start and stop time on this thing, but I don't know where these things are or have gone. They never showed up. So is that part of a glitch, or did I do something wrong when I entered the task?
The required fields are, I believe, 99% sure you have to have a start time, an end time, a customer, a task type. You have to assign it to someone. So there are 6 required fields on that task that must be filled out.
Okay.
If anyone, and right now the issue we're seeing is that the spaces from the iOS device, so if you have an iPad or an Apple phone and you create a task, anything with a space in it comes up with like %20.
Did you say anything with, yeah, you mean in space in between words?
Yes, sir.
That's what happened, that 20 thing.
And that is something that Apple changed on us most recently when they did their latest 6.1 point something. The way that we handle a space has been changed, and now it's displaying the actual code instead of a space in between the words. So we have an update already pending to Apple, the one with signature capture. It is pending review. We should have it early next week, and that'll address all these issues.
And you said one of the things of those 6 fields you have to have is task type?
Yes, sir. Must have a task type.
I don't think I put task type on either one of those because it was just a reminder to me.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it was.
And the newest app that I have in my hands that I'm testing with, if you don't have one of those required fields, it pops up. Make sure you have whatever that field is entered before it allows you to save or sync. So it'll remind you now.
That's the Apple one does that?
It will, the update I have, the development version that is right now under review from Apple,
Gotcha.
it will be our update that is coming out early next week.
All right, I'm good for now. I think after this, I still got to get together with Joe or you because he said there's something wrong with the data because I keep getting a macro error when I hit my task list sometimes.
Yeah, I think Joe wanted me to let you know to just give him a shout when we get off the phone here. And actually what I'll do is I'll just tell Joe when we're done with the class to give you a call as soon as he's free. He may be on the phone right now, I don't know, but I'll have him call you as soon as we're done.
Okay, thanks.
You have about 9 minutes. Any of our Angelas, you girls all right? Have any more questions? Anything pop up?
How do you set up the mapping to work? Because I was talking to someone earlier and my mapping wasn't working. He said I had to turn on something.
Yeah, in the control table, which if we go to miscellaneous info, system, control table maintenance, under the routes tab, there's an option to interface with Microsoft MapPoint. That needs to be yes for the mapping to work. Lonnie, did you have that QuickBooks question that maybe I could?
Sure. We updated to 2013, and they have apps, and I'm assuming they're apps like you get on your phone. And I was playing with that this morning, and I tried to download one, and it said I needed to set up my Intuit Sync Manager. And so when I do that, I go to File at the top, and then I go down, and it says Set up Intuit Sync Manager, and I click on that. I get a box that comes up that says Configuring something, and then the box goes away and nothing else happens. It's not letting me set up that sync for some reason. Have you messed with any of that, or have you seen that?
That is one of the many bugs with 2013. I don't know the exact resolution of it. I've just come across it with our other software that integrates with QuickBooks. And it's actually done through the Intuit App Market, and we use the Sync Manager to sync the data back and forth. I don't know the true fix for that. That's something, unfortunately, you will have to call QuickBooks for.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize it was a bug. I'll just call them for it.
And I believe I think it's on the Intuit forums. If you just do a general Google search, Sync Manager not configuring correctly, I believe you'll see a post on there where they do issue it or list it as a bug, and there may be a resolution by now. I know I was looking into this probably about 2 months ago.
Okay.
Anyone else have a quick question? Are we all set for this afternoon?
I have another question. So the memorized transactions that I have already set up in QuickBooks, they won't switch over to, I have to manually enter all of them again in the service program?
Correct. They are separate. We just call it the same thing. If you're comfortable with QuickBooks billing the memorized transactions, you can obviously leave them and continue that process. You have a lot more power with our memorized transaction list as far as what you can do. If you want to edit your weekly pool service description every month to change it or add dates, if you just did that in QuickBooks, you'd have to open up every memorized transaction and edit it one by one.
Mm-hmm.
With our software, I could just pick, like weekly service, and I want to change that to, maybe I want to say weekly full service for 4/1 through 4/30, and then update description. That would update my description all the way down the board for all my memorized transactions at once. Also, when they're set up in our software, we can calculate the number of route stops to accurately tell you, how many times you serviced a customer for customer billing.
Right. For the routes I put, some of our customers are every first Monday and third Monday, and so what I got out of the training videos is to set them up twice on the route, and once for first Monday and the second time for the third Monday. Is that correct? So that they get served, and then it's reoccurring every month to happen every first Monday and every third Monday.
Yeah, you could do it that way. That would be a good way to manage it. The other way is you look at doing a bi-weekly frequency on Monday, which means they would be serviced every other Monday, the first and third Monday of every month. One frequency, I'm on the schedule one time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone coming to today's class, one of the biggest ones we've had in a while. And if there's anything else I can answer real quick, I'd be more than happy to. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Michael. Michael, don't forget those pictures you were going to email me.
Yes, sir. I've got a Post-it note right on my forehead.
Thank you.
Anytime. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.